Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Joe here with me, my co-host Stan.
Hello and greetings.
And we just got done with the most recent Cobra-Kai episode, where Miguel goes on a date with Sam.
Not a date.
Oh, fine, not a date. But she ends up making her move. I like how Miguel's being taught and walked through how to make a move, only for Sam to make the move.
So much for Cobra-Kai striking first and striking hard.
She struck first, she struck harder. Both by chucking him onto the ground and, well, nailing one on him. As for Johnny, he struggles with trying to get Cobra Kai back into the All Valley because there's a lifetime ban because of Terry Silver and Mike Barnes, with Johnny admitting to the committee, I have no idea who those two are. And he gives an impassioned, heartfelt speech, which is wonderful. Danny doesn't believe him. Danny wants to maintain the ban. And it probably would be for the best if they maintained the ban. Because, Cobra Kai. The trouble is that, as revealed in Season 4, this finale, which is a really great episode, this committee is totally bought off. Same as in the 80s. And you have to ask yourself the question, when did this committee get bought off by Terry Silver? Because George, the Asian guy on the committee, is the referee, and he's later shown in the finale of Season 4 to be bought off. The black guy who says Cobra Kai is a great name, I actually really like his actor, but he's bought off by Terry Silver, as revealed in the Season 4 finale. So, the head of the committee, who always wants to discuss the placemats, seems to be bought off by Terry Silver. This entire committee is probably bought off. And I'm not trying to be a conspiracy nut in universe, but this is why were they bought off? Were they just bought off? Oh, first chance you get to remove the ban. If someone ever comes to plead, you remove the ban, but bring it down to the wire. Is that how it works? Bring it down to the wire so that it's 5-4 vote or something. Because George is clearly bought off by Season 4's finale, but he sides with Danny to unban Cobra Kai. Well, no, to maintain the ban on Cobra Kai. Sorry, Freudian slip again, but it's just, I'm suspicious of Terry Silver. You proposed when we were watching that Terry Silver probably bought them off and forgot about them. Which sounds kind of like, it's happened to him, because he probably did buy off almost everyone around Danny. But you see early in Season 4 that he owns the Japanese company that Danny goes to sell the LaRusso Auto Group to, because they own about almost half the shares of his auto group, and they supplied the initial payment to get him started on his most recent incarnation of his auto group. When his wife was pregnant with Sam. So, you've got that, and you've got the fact that Danny is, the Japanese company is bought off. I'm not saying the young girl from Tony Village is bought off. No, she's not. But she does work for Terry Silver, though she doesn't realize it. But Silver bought off that Japanese company, and thus he basically co-owns the LaRusso Auto Group. He bought off the committee. It seems like almost everyone in Danny's life secretly works for Terry Silver. And the thing is, it seems like it's the perfect seeds or groundwork for a revenge plot, but it seems like Silver forgot about it and was like, whatever, I don't want to do it anymore. He went through the motions of it, but then decided he didn't want to do it.
That entire mentality that he states later on, I was picking on a kid.
It seems crazy. But we have to ask the question, why did he set all this groundwork up?
Maybe he started it, but then decided, you know what, it's not worth it, changed his mind.
But he started almost 20 years ago. And it's like, you know what, whatever. He probably did end up deciding, you know what, I'm retired. I'm retired from supervillainy and being a Bond villain. But
which would explain
why I think he was probably in universe surprised at the idea that, oh, the ban was lifted. Oh, right, I set that up. Whoops. Huh, I forgot about that. That was probably his reaction off camera, like, oh, right, I set that up. He was probably expecting it to be John Kreese who'd come back and revive Cobra-Kai someday. But
he was probably, whatever.
But Johnny Lawrence doing it, he was probably like, whatever, like you said. Surprised, he is surprised that Johnny is joining forces with Danny. With that said, it begs the question, if the auto group belongs to Silver, especially since he bought the Japanese company, or owns it at least, and Danny sold the LaRusso auto group to them in season 3, that means Silver now owns Danny's livelihood. Danny works for Terry Silver, which is scary. Silver probably essentially owns the strip mall where the Cobra Kai dojo was. He owns... Like, the only one he almost doesn't own is Johnny. And, let's face it, I know people are probably going to get tired of us saying this sort of thing, but why did Amanda suddenly strike interest years ago in Danny? And it's just, Danny suddenly got all this money from that Japanese corporation. Why would they take interest in some nobody auto dealer? So that they managed to give him the money so that he could, fight his way up to the top. And I'm going to assume Cole is probably owned by Terry Silver as well. So I'm just going to assume Silver set up the perfect revenge plot, probably owns Amanda essentially for all intents and purposes, but he never followed through. There was no follow through because he was retired. But if all these little seeds were planted over the course of the seasons, but the writers forgot, maybe they should have remembered that, Silver's that kind of villain. They seem to have remembered it short term for season 4, but didn't remember it for season 5. They were trying to rush through the motions. And who knows if there will be a season 6. Part of me hopes not, because season 5 was a disaster. But anyways, let's rate this episode. I'm going to say it's a 3 again.
Yeah.
It's hard to rate this season below a 3 because it's really good.
Characters are well characterized.
Oh, and there's also Danny being a terrible teacher this episode. Because he's not teaching the Miyagi-Do philosophy and history. He's only teaching the fighting moves. He's doing the same mistakes Sato did with Chosen.
He's too over-eager.
And in this case, he's a terrible teacher. Right now. He's terrible at teaching Robbie. He should have started with the ethics. Because the problem is, Robbie is motivated by hatred. And that's one key difference between Danny in Karate Kid and Robbie. Robbie's motivated by hate. Danny was motivated by, I guess you could say, fear and anger. But now, the thing about hatred is it could either be a strength physically to an extent, like in Rocky 4 for Rocky, or it could be a weakness. And no matter what, love and purpose, just clear ambition and determination, is stronger than hatred, I think. And I think that's why Danny was better than, at his core, on an emotional characterization archetype level, better than Mike Barnes. Although Mike Barnes could dominate him in a fight in Karate Kid 3. But Danny was better than Chosen and better than Robbie. Because he could still think straight at all times. He did not have hatred blinding him. Robbie, I know he's a fan favorite, but he's driven purely by hatred for Johnny. His Miyagi-Do is a perversion of Miyagi-Do, just like Chosen's was in Karate Kid 2. The reason Chosen is such a great fighter by Cobra-Kai is because he doesn't have that hatred. Whereas in Karate Kid 2, Yeah. Miyagi-Do does not seem to be a style that's compatible with hatred. So that Chosen and Robbie are terrible to a large extent. To a large extent. Although I'd argue Robbie might be a bit better than Chosen was back in Karate Kid 2. But the problem is Robbie still has that hatred up until the end of season 4 of Cobra-Kai, when he finally decides to beg for forgiveness from his father and cast aside hatred, which I like that. Anyways, stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button to stay tuned, as said, and remember to have a great day.